Alaska, and yet one more special documentary picked by Marnell.
So listener discretion, viewer discretion, and this podcast does not geek shame or kink shame. So strap in.
Or strap it on. Oh my God, we're terrible. All right, tonight we are talking about OnlyFans Selling Sexy, which is a 2021 documentary made by ABC News.
Yep.
Streamable on Hulu.
Yep. It's only about an hour long.
Which is half the reason we chose it, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Because we're both still a little overwhelmed by the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
Yeah, that was a lot of TV watching for me because I actually went back afterwards and also watched the Batman movies, the ones with Ben Affleck.
Okay, those are legit words I never thought I would hear you say. That was a lot of TV watching for me.
Yeah, and this is straight off the heels of us podcasting Purgatory,
Westminster. So we did Paradise Lost, and then you binged everything about the West Memphis 3.
All 4 movies, and then I watched the first movie again. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going to find time to binge WandaVision and start Falcon and Winter Soldier, so...
Oh, I know.
All right, so, OnlyFans. So I'm going to say, honestly, probably until about 6 months ago, maybe even less than that, I didn't really even know what OnlyFans was because I'm old. And then I started kind of joking with people about OnlyFans, and I recently said to a friend of mine, well, how do you think I afford all that eye makeup?
So, I always joke, or do I, about having an OnlyFans with fellow podcaster Lilith Hellfire. And I actually had never heard of OnlyFans until this past year. And it was, of course, because of all of the articles about women supplementing their income during the pandemic, because they couldn't work or their hours were cut or, they used OnlyFans to keep their families afloat, to pay their bills, and how, a lot of them have had very good results with outwardly appearance of not a whole lot of backlash. And we'll get into that a little bit more later. But I mean, the TikTok was huge for a while for having, people joke about, I see all these women starting OnlyFans and they're making like $6,000 a month. And, I'm being called a slut and a whore for not doing these things. Like, why not make the $6,000 a month and do them, So,
and $6,000 a month seems small compared to some of the figures that we heard about in this movie.
Right. And so I always semi-joke now that I curse OnlyFans for having to constantly tell people that I am really, really an accountant, one that deals with numbers and spreadsheets, because a lot of people don't like to say how they earn their money, so they tell people they're an accountant. And so it's a big joke on TikTok.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I did not realize that. That is really funny.
Because nobody asks questions when you say you're an accountant. There's actually this catchy little song that people do dances to about being an accountant, and, in quotes. And nobody asks you any more questions once you say you're an accountant. Where do you work? A place where accounting is done. What do you do? Accounting.
Oh my God, that is so funny. I didn't know that was a thing.
And so when I tell people I'm an accountant, I'm like, I'm a real accountant. I deal with numbers and spreadsheets and reports, not an OnlyFans page. And like I said, we don't kink shame. There is absolutely no shame in having an OnlyFans. I mean, you could have picked another job, except for they're right. Nobody asks you questions after you tell them you're an accountant.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, does anybody ask me anything more when I tell them I'm a nurse practitioner? A lot of people look at me blankly and they're like, oh, you're a nurse? And I'm like, not quite the same. Not quite the same.
See, but, and I would be the weirdo that would be like, oh, what's the grossest thing you've seen?
I do have to say, my sweet new fella and I were swapping war stories about COVID the other day. So, here we are. I don't have any great COVID war stories, though, which is actually probably a good thing. I mean, I have one patient who was desperately, desperately sick, and we didn't think that patient was going to survive. Thank goodness the patient did. But fortunately, most of my COVID war stories are pretty minor.
Yeah, so I, as you know, I had my first shot of Pfizer a couple of days ago. I feel great.
Get vaccinated, people. PSA from the Real Housewives.
My cell reception in my house is improved.
Does your garage door open by itself now?
No, thank God, because the dogs would escape. I am growing a third arm though, but I think that's going to come in handy, and I can only imagine I'm going to earn way more money on my OnlyFans page being a, three-armed freak.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. All right. So, what is your rating for this documentary?
So, I loved this documentary. I would have actually liked, you could have expanded this into a 2-hour documentary and gotten a little more into the business behind, and the CEO, Tim Stokely,
yeah. Who is very, very hard to find anything about.
Yes, very elusive.
Yes, elusive is the word I was searching for. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, not a 5, but it rated a 4.1 Peacock Kimonos.
Oh! So that guy was actually my least favorite of the performers, but, well, no, actually, Sylvia was my least favorite. He was the next least favorite. But Peacock Kimonos, good for you. So I rated it a little lower. I gave it a solid B. I rated it 4 transgressive Disney princesses out of 5.
And if you know her, like you said, you didn't know much about Bella
didn't,
Thorne.
just because she wasn't my era,
I believe her when she says you either love her or hate her, and I absolutely love her. She was in Assassination Nation, which we reviewed.
Oh my gosh. And you said she was like a cheerleader, so she didn't have a big role, right?
No, she doesn't. And that's kind of what she does. So like just about everything I know her from, she either plays a snotty cheerleader, or like a snotty rich girl. And she does a lot of horror type movies. Like she did The Babysitter, and God, there was something else that she did, but I do believe she was actually in the series Scream Queens. So I just love her because she like has this sort of niche, and she totally plays into it because wanting to get as far away from her Disney princess past as possible, and I think we'll talk a little bit more about her later when it comes to her starting her OnlyFans, but I love her. So
I'm super curious about her. I don't know much about her, but I'm super curious about her.
Yeah. We'll probably get into it a little more later.
Okay, so I have a few numbers thanks to you, because I really couldn't find very much about this, and I couldn't find anything about a writer or a director or
right.
There was just nothing. So
it's basically just like brought to you by ABC News.
Right. Which apparently there's quite a number of ABC News documentaries on Hulu. This just happens to be the one that you found that we watched. So,
Right.
if you're interested in documentaries, there's another source for you. Okay, so as of April of last year, so a year ago, OnlyFans was valued between $810 million and $936 million.
So the documentary claims that OnlyFans has paid out $2 billion in creator earnings.
And important for us to say that the company gets 20% and the
Right.
content creator gets 80%.
Which I think is a really good split.
Oh, it's definitely beneficial for the creators. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Right.
So a few other numbers which I thought were really interesting. And again, you pointed out that you didn't feel like the Wikipedia page about OnlyFans was very up to date. So, we may not be dealing with much more than news that's about a year old. Over 24 million registered users. There are about 450,000 content creators. And it sounds like the creator, who is Tim Stokely, said that there are about 200,000 new users every 24 hours and 7,000 to 8,000 new creators joining every day.
Wow. So the documentary was released in February, and the numbers that they cited at the end of the documentary was 100 million registered users, which,
Wow.
I mean, that maths out.
It makes sense
yeah.
considering the pandemic growth.
And 1 million plus content creators. So in March of 2020, at the start of COVID-19, the numbers of OnlyFans content creators increased by 40%.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a kind of personal question, and you can choose to answer it or not. Have you ever watched anything on OnlyFans?
No, I have not.
I have not either. And I mean, really, again, up until very recently, I was like, what? Only what?
So I love what someone in the documentary quoted Tim Stokely as saying, the only difference between OnlyFans and other social media sites is the pay button.
Oh.
So, I mean, it is basically TikTok. I don't know if there's a time limit on the videos. I can't imagine that there is. But it's basically TikTok with a pay button, which TikTok, people put their Cash Apps and Venmos in their bios all the time. And people send money.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
There's a lot of TikTok content creators who raise money for different charitable things. And one of the pages that I followed forever, he actually doesn't do it anymore. I think he moved back to India to go to school or like help his parents or something like that. But he actually worked at a gas station, and people would Cash App or Venmo or PayPal this guy, and he would give the money out to the homeless people that frequented the gas station, the convenience store, and he would tell them, somebody gave us, $50. You can have whatever you want in the store besides alcohol or cigarettes, and I'll give you the rest in cash. And so, and then like it just started with that, and he would film, the people, they were so grateful, they would start to cry, and like they'd go and grab a bunch of stuff, and they, then people started to get to know the regulars in the convenience store, and they would specifically send money for that person. And you can actually start an Amazon wish list and put that in your bio. And people started sending them new shirts and socks and feminine hygiene products and coats and sleeping bags and things like that. And it was really, really amazing. And the manager of the gas station would actually also collect money, and then he would order a whole bunch of meals from one of the local restaurants, which in turn would help keep the restaurant business going during the pandemic. And then he would go hand out the meals to the homeless. I
That is
mean,
really cool.
yes. So there was actually in January of 2020, 20-year-old American Kayleen Ward raised more than $1 million for charity on her OnlyFans to benefit the Australia while they were going through the bushfires last year.
I just noticed that on the Wikipedia page, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, the power of social media is just amazing. And just because everyone thinks OnlyFans a porn site doesn't mean it's not doing some good.
Here's the thing. Not all porn is bad. And, you and I
No.
have had this conversation many times. As long as it's ethical, as long as nobody's being hurt,
Right.
and I think I told you about this gal once upon a time, and I haven't talked about her in a while, and I'm sorry to say that her podcast is no longer, but there was a podcast called The Whorecast, and it was done by a woman named who called herself Susie Q, and she actually she was a sex worker, and she talked about her life as a sex worker, and she talked about sex positivity, and she was great. I loved listening to her. It was one of my favorite podcasts of all times.
You know, it's interesting how we were just talking about I think it was because we were talking about Britney Spears, how when men rapped about sex and women and things like that, it was acceptable. But the minute like Cardi B started rapping about it and taking control of it, her own narrative, all of a sudden it's, how am I going to explain this to my children? And that's not appropriate. And, Lil Nas X just kind of had that happen. But, I kind of think that I kind of lump him in with the women who are taking control of their own narrative because he's a gay black man, So I think that anytime somebody who is marginalized takes control of their own narrative, there's a lot of backlash. And so it was probably really controversial at the time for a sex worker to have a podcast and talk about, sex positivity and things like that. But I mean, how long ago was that dude doing the Bunny Ranch on HBO? He had a show.
Right.
Yeah. So it's interesting, the double standard.
Double standard because we're talking about men and women. Double standard because we're talking about sex. Double standard because we're talking about men and women.
All of the above.
Yeah.
So a couple more numbers that we can cite for before we get into housekeeping. Bella Thorne, who we've talked about a little, was the record holder for earning over $1 million in 24 hours when she joined the platform in August of 2020. And we'll probably talk about the backlash to her joining. But the reason that this documentary was brought to my attention was on April 1st, so just a few days ago, rapper Bad Baby, and like I said on Biters, if you don't know who she is, count your blessing. She actually broke that record. So April 1st was her birthday. She was born on April Fool's. She earned $1 million in 6 hours on the platform. And she actually made more than she made more than $4 million in less than 72 hours. So, yeah.
So
I'm not knocking them. Like, Get your money, girl.
Yeah, no, so I was thinking about it when you were saying that, and like the bulk of the creators on OnlyFans are women,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of makes sense. I mean, and even I, generally speaking, would much rather watch a woman than a guy.
Right.
What does that say? I don't know. Not sure what that says. And Sylvia, who is not my favorite performer in this documentary, basically said exactly what you said. You know, we don't know how long this is going to last. Get it. Get it while you can.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, those are the numbers that we have. We can't exactly do box office for the documentary.
No, and there's, you know, there's, first of all, I was telling you before we signed in, there's nothing. There's nothing about this documentary. I couldn't find anything. I found a couple of articles, done by ABC News going, look at this cool new documentary. Okay, so I don't really have anything for, do we want to go into housekeeping or do we want to talk about the hero real quick?
So I have one thing for housekeeping.
Okay.
You know, we're still kind of tracking the movements of the Satanic Temple.
Right.
And so
I wonder if you're going to say the one thing that I found. You go ahead.
this weekend, they're doing the World Conference on Moral Panic.
Oh, no, we don't have the same thing.
Conspiracism, which I didn't know was a word, and pseudoscience in the age of QAnon. So it'll be held on Friday, April 9th through Monday, April 12th. You can purchase tickets on their website. Mark your calendars to join us and listen to our distinguished speakers, including Lucian Greaves,
Yay!
Carrie Poppy, Josie Laycock, Evan Anderson, and Chalice Blythe. So I'm actually thinking of trying to attend this weekend some of those because I just finished the documentary on HBO Max about QAnon, the 6-part series.
Oh, I need to watch that.
Yes, you do. So I mean, it's the person who the persons they revealed to be QAnon, or at least the most likely culprits behind QAnon, are ones that we've kind of, those of us who have kind of closely watched QAnon for a while, kind of knew who was behind it. And I think it's pretty conclusive at the end that they are behind it.
Oh my God, where am I going to find all the time to watch all this stuff?
I will tell you, honestly, if you don't have time, like, watch the first episode and the last episode.
Oh my gosh, that's so... I am not that person who reads the first chapter and the last chapter.
Well, because the last in the series, the 6th episode, will pretty much sum up everything that you've seen in the 5 previous episodes.
You are so funny. You totally are the girl who doesn't read the middle part.
I do too.
Just not always.
So, if I am like if I just can't stand the suspense anymore, I will go read the last chapter, but it doesn't keep me from like going and reading the whole book.
So you know,
like,
I told you I just finished that book, Diary of a Submissive, which seems very appropriate given what we're talking about tonight.
Right.
And you know that I told you that I was like, the humiliation stuff just didn't do anything for me. I slogged through the whole damn book. I didn't read the beginning chapters and skip to the end. I slogged through the whole damn book, and there were definitely some parts where I was like, I'm not entirely sure why I'm reading this, because it's kind of a buzzkill.
Oh, see? You'll reclaim your time watching something. I'll reclaim my time reading something. And now we're going to reclaim the time on the podcast and try and get back on track.
Right. So Where were we? I had something about the Satanic Temple. So they are in another one of their giving the invocation before the city lawsuits. So they are in a lawsuit with Boston. And legal arguments happened today, and the attorneys for the city of Boston were like, we don't discriminate. Anybody who wants to do an invocation can. Which I don't really think that's true, because I don't think the Satanic Temple would waste the time and energy suing the city of Boston if the city of Boston said, come aboard, do the invocation. But that's the argument of the attorneys from the city of Boston.
So if they're saying they're not preventing them from doing it, like,
why is
can
there
they
a suit?
do it?
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I couldn't figure that out from the stuff that I was reading. I was like, so if the invocation is open to anybody, why are you not right? Why are you not just letting them do it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is there a sign-up sheet that I don't know about? Like, give me a time slot. I'll be there.
Yeah, I don't know. That was the only new thing I found, so I'm glad that you found that information that you shared. Would you mind putting a link on the Real Housewives Facebook?
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. There's like for all the spam email that I get in the email account that I have had since I was 18 years old. So, and I actually don't get as much as you think I do.
Oh my God, I have like 8,000 unopened emails, so yeah.
Triage that stuff.
Oh, you told me once upon a time how to deal with it, and I need to go back and deal with it again. Like the whole, okay, search for this topic. Delete.
Yeah, sort by from.
Yeah.
So I actually do open and read my TST email on a regular basis.
Yay!
So, TST and Sephora.
So, TST, the Satanists and the makeup gurus.
Right?
So I have their app on my phone. I will be very honest, and I'm kind of sad saying this. It's not the most useful app that I've got. So I probably need to read my TST email and not worry so much about looking at the app.
Yeah.
All right. So Housewives Weekly Season 10C, I guess Housewives Housekeeping. Season 10C of Walking Dead finished. Our last Walking Dead episode will post this week, and then we start Fear the Walking Dead. You can still watch the podcast of the Snyder Cut on Capes and Lunatics YouTube channel, or listen to it on Capes and Lunatics. On the 17th of this month, we have The People versus Larry Flint upcoming on Capes and Lunatics After Dark. And I don't know if you saw it, but I got an invitation this week to do the Black Widow movie, and I'm sure you did too.
Oh, yeah. I actually haven't opened my Messenger messages in a while. I don't know why. Messenger causes me anxiety.
Well, and I mean, here's the truth. We get a ton of messages via Messenger from the Capes and Lunatics feed. Right.
It's not so much that as like, I've just like, every time there's a new message, like I've had old boyfriends reach out to me. I've had like perfect strangers reach, like, Messenger just causes me anxiety because I feel like it's too accessible. And like
you can block people.
Well, and I mean, it's like, I don't mind talking to people. Like, I actually, a really old friend just found me via Messenger. And so her and I have been chatting, but like, we haven't talked since I was like 17. And so there's a lot to catch up on, and I don't have a lot of mental energy these days. And so I feel like when people can see that I have read the message, but I haven't responded yet, So I don't go in and read my messages regularly so that people don't see like it's only when I'm ready to respond is when I actually go in and read messages.
Okay, I actually have to laugh a little bit because I have an iPhone. And so if you are chatting via text with other iPhone users, unless they blocked the function, you can see when they've read your messages and they can see that you've read theirs. I can't see that with you on text because you're not using an iPhone.
And same thing with Samsung. I can see when a Samsung user has read a message, but not an iPhone.
Speaking of not seeing iPhones and not... Yeah, so I just sent you a picture. Because, of course, what are we doing? Well, we're talking about OnlyFans, but we're texting each other, too. But at least I'm not typing on my keyboard, Thomas O'Mara, who never listens to this particular podcast.
So, and I do believe that is actually me that he is hearing typing because this is an obnoxiously loud keyboard.
Okay, I can hear that. Hold on, I'm going to knock away on mine. We're totally off topic here. Yeah? No?
Yeah, I can hear it, but I think mine is way louder.
Okay. Yeah, no, he's blaming me.
No, I think it's me.
He's completely blaming me.
I'll fess up to it when we podcast Fear the Walking Dead this weekend.
Okay.
I'll even demonstrate that it's me.
Anything else for Housewives Weekly?
Mm-mm.
I'm going to say still, because I know I said it on... I know I've said it. I'm still obsessed with the Rose Betts song to the Siren, but... I found out that it was actually originally done by Tim Buckley, like back in the 70s. He wrote it, and there was a remake done by This Mortal Coil in the 80s. Huh. So this is like the third incarnation of the song, but it's definitely my favorite incarnation of the song.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there we are.
All right, so she's kind of not the Housewives hero because it's not like I can do a lot of reporting about her. I guess I could have hopped on like her Instagram and everything, but the Housewife hero this week is Kristen Vaughn, who was one of the women who was featured in the documentary.
So she was the girl with like the Amber Heard Aqua girl hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I specifically wanted to talk about her because she was fired from her job for having an OnlyFans. And I can confidently say that regardless. Yeah, one of those. I know one of those isn't a word. I think it's irregardless. Because regardless of what the company had to say, she actually has audio recordings that she released to BuzzFeed News that were meetings with her bosses about they called her into the office, and she actually thought she was being called into the office to receive an award because she was actually up for an award in her line of work. She's a mechanic, and she actually later that she didn't win, but I know that she was nominated for it in her line of work. But so she goes to her boss's office, this Honda dealership, and they are there to basically quiz her about her OnlyFans page because it's been so distracting for the other men in the shop.
Would they have said that if she was a male performer?
No, and I will tell you exactly why. So in the recording, Johnston and Watkins, who are her bosses, seemed to blame Va for the reaction of her coworkers, quoting, "If I walked into a shop and spread a rumor, how other people react to it, that's their responsibility. But I'm still the one who yelled fire," Watkins can be heard saying. So they were blaming her for everyone else talking about her OnlyFans. If there were coworkers over there who had access to your page that might encourage them to approach you with unwanted sexual conduct or comments, Johnson said on the recording.
No, it's called being a grown-up and not doing that. It's called being a grown-up and not talking to your coworker like that.
Right?
I have to backtrack a little bit and say, you know that I'm kind of raunchy with a couple of my coworkers, but we're the girl squad and we talk to each other that way and that's our thing. And it's consensual and we talk to each other that way. It's not like I'm walking up to one of them going, so, I was watching your OnlyFans this weekend with my wife while I was having a drink.
Right? Um, so, they questioned her about so they state that she was fired for violating company policy / procedure.
Yeah, and did they actually elaborate what that really meant? Or is that just code speak for, you're kind of a hoe and we don't want you working here?
So one of the things that they did ask her was, in the audio recordings provided to BuzzFeed, Vaughn's meetings with management, the men could be heard asking Vaughn a series of questions about the content of her OnlyFans. Vaughn acknowledged to her managers that she shared some photos in her uniform from the dealership's bathroom on her OnlyFans account, but she told the men she took great pains to obscure any logos or identifying features. So you could say that because she did it on company property and not provably, but on company time in her company uniform, that was the legitimate reason that they fired her for. Okay, but so Vaughn told BuzzFeed News that she was not the first employee in the shop to appear in an OnlyFans account, and that the shop has a double standard for how it treats men and women. So apparently there was a male colleague in the shop who appeared on his girlfriend's OnlyFans page, and they claimed to not know about it, but the whole shop knew about it, and he wasn't fired. Yeah. Yeah, and of the harassment, the other employees said that she should shut up because they were helping her drum up business. Yeah. So, I kind of wanted to highlight that because she is actually not the only person to be fired for having an OnlyFans. There was a big story, I think the New York Times did it a couple of months ago, about a ambulance driver in New York City, and we all know how hard New York got hit with COVID. Mm-hmm. So imagine being a first responder during COVID in New York and not making enough money as an ambulance driver to support yourself. She started an OnlyFans. And she was, I don't know if she was fired, but she was thrown under the media bus. There was a lot of backlash against, her doing that, but there was also a lot of backlash against the backlash, which I love. Because it's like, one, she shouldn't have had to start an OnlyFans to support herself.
Right.
And two, if she wants to sell pictures of her feet or her boobs or whatever for money, that's her right, Far be it from anybody else to judge.
Okay, I'm going to launch into a feminist rant here, and you and I kind of had this conversation earlier tonight. So, no secret that I am in a really lovely budding romance. I'm quite happy. I did meet and have a couple of dates on Tinder before I met this fellow. I have since deleted Tinder, I'm quite happy to say. One of the fellows, and you know this because you helped me research this person and put him through court view and all of that. When I told him I didn't want any more dates because I had met someone that I really wanted to see things through with, and I didn't want to, this person's just really important to me. Anyway, you know that person that I canceled with got super creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
It's
like,
scary.
and scary, definitely scary. Like to the point where I'm like, not only do I always lock my door, but I put my mace back on my keychain, and I still need to sit down and go through my 380 with somebody. Yeah, that's scary. Anyway, you and I
Yeah.
were talking about this tonight, and I was like, if I was a dude, it wouldn't even be a thing.
You know, they're actually remaking Fatal Attraction, and I heard that they were updating it for modern times.
Are they making the Glenn Close character a male?
I don't think so, but I think that what it kind of sounded like to me is that they are going to show like the gaslighting that went on that to drive the crazy woman to, boil a bunny.
Oh, interesting.
So I think it's going to show both sides of it.
I mean, I don't
And
want to
let
be
you
awful because men and women are assholes, but I mean, having just kind of come out of this somewhat scary experience, I'm like, again, if I were a dude, wouldn't even be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think guys have to mostly worry about like their vehicles getting vandalized.
I'm gonna key your car.
you know, there's that whole song, that country song about.
Oh, who did that? Gretchen somebody or other. I can't remember her last name.
It's a good song.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've listened to that song. That's funny.
So, and I mean, you and I both know, I won't mention their name, but you and I both know a woman who took back the gift of the cool side mirrors she bought for a boyfriend's truck with a baseball bat.
We do?
We do.
We do? You're going to have to text me that information or remind me in some other way because I don't remember that.
Yeah.
It's not you, is it?
Oh, no. No. I texted you what I plan to do if Mr. Tinder didn't leave you alone. And trust me, I can be super scary and still be
You are
legal.
scary as hell.
I am.
And I'm very proud of you. Okay, off that topic. I just had to have my little feminist rant because
Well, and going back to A Promising Young Woman, which you can stream right now for $5.99.
yes,
on
and everyone
all
should if you
platforms.
haven't because it's amazing.
It's an amazing movie, and then go listen to the podcast, and you will find out very, very quickly that it's the nice guys. It's the guys who think they're the nice guys who are the first to call you the C word or the first to gaslight you, or like, not all men, hashtag not all men, but a lot of the guys who put themselves in the nice guy camp do not belong there. And if you find one of those guys in your camp, kick him out.
You
He's
know
not
what?
a nice
Although
guy, and if you cover for him, you're not a nice guy.
I am here to say nice guys still exist.
Mm-hmm. They do. One is making my sister very happy right now.
And he may or may not listen to this podcast, so he did listen to Hail Satan, so...
All right,
so I guess that kind of gets us into our summer, winter, and road construction.
Yep.
You want to go first or you want me to go first?
I gave my rating first, even though I think I went first last time, so it's up to you.
I don't care. We can
Okay.
totally do it however you want.
So I will go first. My summer is the fact that women are the highest earners on the app, and the 80%. They are getting 80% of their taking. And there are so many women out there who have been able to, I was just reading about one woman who quit her job as a cop because she's making $130,000 a year on OnlyFans.
Okay, I'm going to reflect back to you that there are very few places where women make that kind of money. Because we still live in a culture where women make, what, 77 cents for every dollar a man makes?
Right.
So, yeah. So, cool summer. I agree with that completely.
There was an article about a woman who is putting her kid through law school with her OnlyFans. I just, we've talked about sex positivity, body positivity, and I love that it's not just Sports Illustrated swimsuit models who are on the app earning all of this money. 2 out of 3 of the women that were profiled on the show would not have stereotypical beautiful bodies. And I absolutely love that because that just proves the point that, not everyone wants a Barbie doll, not everyone wants a Ken doll. A couple of the TikTokers that I follow, like, have hot dad bods, like so I love that, it's been such a amazingly positive thing, especially for women. And then it's gotten a lot of them through the pandemic. They said that they wouldn't have survived otherwise. They would have, not been able to make their rent, not been able to buy their family food, not been able to pay their bills. And well, I think that it sucks that, you would have to turn to sex work if you did not want to turn to sex work. But you don't have to sell nudes. There's a whole genre of feet pics. You don't have to show your face.
I'm not sure I entirely understand that, but, I do like shoes, so...
Well, there are a whole lot of people out there who love pictures of pretty feet. There's accounts out there that don't show nudity at all. There's accounts out there who show full nudity, but they don't show their faces, so, do what you're comfortable with and get that money, girl.
Get it, girl.
So that was my summer. I just, you can say a lot of bad things about pornography and social media and things like that, but I think the positives outweigh the negative.
Well, and again, this is not my summer, but just to say it again, as long as it is ethical and not harmful, not exploitative, people can watch whatever the hell they want.
Right.
And people can make whatever the hell they want. It may not be my jam, but if somebody enjoys it and it's not hurting anybody, who cares?
Exactly. And, the service that the OnlyFans account provides is incredibly valuable. And I can't believe that they're only charging 20%. And so I think it's completely ethical, and the women are in control of what they release, so yeah. So what was your summer?
This is a little self-serving, but I love that Winter is a big girl.
Exactly.
I love that she's not a classic body type. I love that she's not a Sylvia Sage, who is, like a classic porn star.
Yep.
And I love that she seems to enjoy the fact that she's doing what she's doing on OnlyFans. She's making great money. I mean, the thing that they said at the end of the documentary was that she's on track to make $20,000 a month.
Yep.
I just love that she's not what everyone thinks of as that classic porn star.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she works it, and there are people out there who will pay to see it. And, every woman has cellulite.
Even Sylvia Sage.
Even Sylvia Sage.
who is the MILF in the show.
Yep.
Which we were kind of trying to figure out how the heck you're a MILF at age 36. At least I was trying to figure that out. And Marnell did point out that you could have an 18-year-old kid at the age of 36. So there we are.
Yeah, you can. So, yeah, Winter making $1,300 off her first butt video. $1,300 in a day.
Off of twerking.
Twerking. Yeah, showing her butt and twerking. And she made, I'm like, yeah, go, yeah. And then $8,000 off her threesome video, which that was just at the time. I don't know how much she would have made off of that since then. Any additional residual income from people pay-per-viewing either the full movie or just the clips. Yeah. Her original goal had been $10,000 a month, and she reached that. And then I think her 1-year anniversary, she had made $150,000 on the app, and she had set the goal of making no less than $20,000 a month. And I love that she was trying to get her mom to quit her job and become her social media manager.
And you and I talked about this before we signed on, but I thought the moment was poignant, and I loved it, where she was like, "Mom, do you think I'm a filthy whore?" or something along those lines. And her mother was like, "No." And she's like, "Okay, just clarifying, because people are DMing me that that's who I am."
And by the way, her mom was very pretty too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were at lunch together, and Mom had, her hair all done, and she was all dressed up and everything. I'm like, maybe Mom should start an OnlyFans.
She could be the real MILF.
Right.
All right. What was your winter?
Oh, so my winter is exactly the opposite of Winter's body positivity, is the vitriol that the creators
that was my winter
app.
Also.
Yes.
Like all of the horrible DMs that every single person they showed, including Bella Thorne. I mean, Bella Thorne stuff was Twitter hate, but I mean, just all of the hate.
From what I understand is you actually have to be a subscriber in order to have the ability to DM someone on OnlyFans.
So you have to put out that extra effort to find someone on OnlyFans that you really loathe, and then send them stuff.
$4.99, $10.99, $15.99, whatever a month, just to mean tweet them.
People are horrible.
Yeah, exactly. So like, okay, like, you're gonna call me a fat cow, but I got your $15. You know?
Oh my God, that's really funny.
But so, I mean, I guess that people could find them on their other social media accounts and DM them. But from what I understand, you cannot DM someone unless you are a subscriber to their account. And there's also another thing that I understand about OnlyFans is a lot of creators have 2 pages. They will have a free page, and then they will have a paid subscription page. And their free page is like, no nudity, or like no, like, me, cooking and answering questions or whatever, doing lives or whatever. It'll just be like my swimsuit pics, or maybe some cute lingerie pics, or, so that'll be the free stuff. And it'll say, if you want the, harder version, subscribe to my subscriber account. So it's possible they could DM her. They could subscribe to the free page and DM. But I just, why do you have to take time out of your day
to be ugly?
Scroll on,
Yeah, and and everybody got ugliness, including the guy that I wasn't a giant fan of, the guy who was all muscle bound, who wasn't doing nudes, who was like, I want a life after modeling.
Yep.
I mean, he was not my favorite person to look at. He was kind of vapid, but don't DM hate to him.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we tell people not to mean tweet. The only time that I am like quote mean tweeting. I'm snarky to politicians when
I was just going to say, I'm not going to lie, I totally mean tweet Susan Collins on a fairly regular basis, although it's been a while.
Well, and it's not just like you're ugly or something. It's
No,
like
I say things like, Susan, are you clutching your pearls again?
or you have a trash opinion about, XYZ.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Oh, speaking of trash opinions, this is totally off topic. Fenty lipstick smears like crazy.
I think you're wearing it wrong.
I'm not wearing it wrong. I blotted it. It was everywhere. Fenty lipstick smears like crazy.
Was he wearing any sort of lip balm?
No. But he was definitely wearing some Fenty lipstick.
Did he look like the Joker afterwards?
We both did. It was awful. He was like, oh my God, you need to go look in the mirror. And I looked at him and I just handed him a makeup towelette also.
Normally it's the guy handing you the towelette.
No.
But...
I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, holy hell, I'm so embarrassed. And then I looked up at him and I was like, here, you need one too. And now I'm beet red. Anyone who's listening to this podcast knows I'm beet red, and Phil probably just did a mic drop.
So we had the same winter. So my road construction is the stigma that surrounds selling your body.
I'm super glad that you brought that up as well, because there's that moment where Winter is talking about, I'm sick of the whole morality thing. I'm sick of the whole, you've had a horrible life. Surely you were raised wrong. Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah. Well, and I'm also, not just that, but to go a little deeper into that, in that if you are a construction worker, if you're a professional athlete, if you are a model.
So I wrote that down. So someone said we can capitalize intellect, we can capitalize athletics, but we can't capitalize eroticism.
And I just always go back to, we have uncles on our mother's side who are lifelong housing contractors. And
I was wondering where you were going with that, because I always, when I think of uncles on our mother's side, I immediately think of the religious one, and I'm like, don't bring him up.
Not him. No. Uncle Joe and Uncle Daryl, had multiple back surgeries, knee surgeries, however many times that they, put a nail through a foot or a hand at a job, or, people who do hard manual labor are selling their bodies. Athletes are selling their bodies.
Athletes in some professions are selling their brains, as in Muhammad Ali or CTE in football players. Go ahead.
Exactly. And you could go so far as to say that anybody who sits down at a desk 8 hours a day, which sitting is the new smoking.
Yes.
Is sacrificing their body for their job. So we are all selling something in some way, and it's only the Puritans around us who are judging those who are selling their bodies, because I truly believe this, that there is at least a quarter to a half of society who are selling their nudes to the other half of society that are buying them. So all of these people who are ranting and raving about the sale and purchase of pornography, you're doing one or the other.
And isn't it true? I mean, I would have to look it up, and I'm kind of speaking out of turn because I'm not going to look it up, but the Bible Belt is like one of the biggest consumers of pornography.
Yes. That is absolutely true. At least the last time I saw the statistics.
Here's the thing. And I say this as a nurse practitioner who talks to patients about sex all the time. And I do my best to be sex positive and to really encourage people who want healthy sex lives to have good, healthy sex lives. People do what they're going to do. And again, it goes back to what we were saying about porn. I mean, whatever you have to do to get off, if it works for you and it's not hurting anybody else, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But don't judge.
No.
And don't tell somebody that they can't do it.
So, and if you want to dive down that even further, before women went to work outside the home, they were selling themselves to their husbands. Like, it was, you did domestic work and sexual services for your husband who goes out and makes a paycheck and pays all.
Ew. You're right. It's accurate. And ew is all I have to say.
Yeah. So you're either monogamous to the one guy and you're tied to his one income, or you can sell it to a whole lot of other people and they'll buy what they want. And, you know, the next guy might not, but there are plenty of fish in the sea. And there's some girl fishes who want to see your... Yeah. So that was my road construction, is just the stigma that surrounds selling your body for money. When more people do it than you think, they just aren't. And I mean, these women aren't even having sex with other people. They are just selling pictures of their naked and or scantily clad bodies. And sometimes not even that.
Although some of them are having sex with people, but not their viewers on OnlyFans, like Kristen,
yeah.
who was, her boyfriend was her partner in her OnlyFans.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's been around on the internet forever. Amateur, I think, is some of the best porn.
Dan Savage still, I mean, I'm sure it's been waylaid by the pandemic, but he has a porn festival called Hump that's an amateur porn festival.
That's right. So don't get me wrong. I do love me some porn parodies. And
I was actually just saying that the other day.
The pirate movies are just the pinnacle of porn.
Wow, poor Rob. He had no idea when we pitched The Real Housewives to him that we were going to be talking about porn and pussy. Sorry, Rob.
Not sorry. Yeah, and what's funny is, like, here you and I aren't actually getting paid to do this. We're getting paid to talk about, you know, sex and you know, things like that, you know, and part of our personal lives, not quite our sex lives, but, you know, it's kind of a peek behind the curtain. So we're not even doing it for money. We're not whores. We're just sluts.
Oh my God.
There's Phil's mic drop.
Phil's going to be like, I told you needed to send that to me.
So, yeah. I mean, we are all selling something. These women and some men are just so happen to be selling nudity. And that's okay. So, what was your road construction?
So, my road construction is someone we haven't talked about yet. I really liked Griffin Burrows. He was the kind of beardy hipster guy who was one of the content creators.
Mm-hmm. And actually, he's a professional porn actor.
Yeah, and he was great. He just seemed very down to earth. He was very articulate. He didn't have the smoke and stacked body like Tyson did. He was lovely to look at and lovely to listen to, and I just wanted to say that. I just really liked him. I'm not going to go subscribe to OnlyFans so I can watch his channel. Because
maybe you'll find him on Twitter.
Oh, there you go. Insta. Yeah, what did they call OnlyFans? It's the Instagram for pornography.
Exactly. I mean, since Instagram basically kind of copied TikTok's, like, 1 minute video style, uh and TikTok is very, very finicky about bullying and hate speech and doing quote unquote dangerous things. So people who film their TikToks while they're driving, they get a little disclaimer about, this is dangerous, don't attempt it. Um, I've seen a lot of content creators have issues with um, getting people just go on mass reporting sprees. If you're on the left, a whole bunch of right-wing people will come and report every single one of your videos for content violation that's not in there. So you have to take the trouble of filing an appeal and waiting for that to get back. And I guess TikTok is notorious for not having humans work for them. Like, it's basically kind of an automated thing. And people are like, I had a video with like 5 million views and it got taken down for a violation of content, and it doesn't have any content that violates the rules. And, and it screws with your metrics on TikTok. So, like, it's kind of like the more famous you are, the more they'll promote you because you're in the creator fund, and the more views you have, the more income that TikTok generates. So, like, it's a snowball. Well, the minute all your stuff gets taken down to, that violates content, it lowers your metric. And so that messes with your income from the creator fund, and it messes with your ability to get hyped up on people's For You pages. And it's just, it's kind of the Wild West on TikTok sometimes.
I'm so glad I have my personal TikTok curator.
Yeah, I will troll through all of the sludge and give you the cream.
I'm good with that.
So I think that takes us squarely into bycatch. What do you think?
I think it does. And I just want to talk about the money that people are earning. I mean, we're talking about people earning $10,000 to $20,000 a month. And when you first told me about this documentary, I was like, what am I doing wrong in my life? I mean, I'm helping people. I'm healing people. I'm actually putting up with some abuse from people to try to heal them and help them. And I'm not making $10,000 to $20,000 a month.
So the way that OnlyFans runs is you can have people who subscribe to your account for a set fee. Most fees are around $5 a month. You can go up from there, 10, 15. I think that they max out at $50 a month. And some of the controversy that arose when Bella Thorne started her account was, I don't know how much she was charging for a subscription, but she was asking for $200 in tips or pay-per-view.
And she made $1 million in her first day, right?
Yeah. She was asking for $200 in tips or whatever to see her nude videos or her nude pictures. And they wound up not being nude. So
right, because didn't she like immediately say, "Oh, I'm not doing any nudes. No nudes."
Right.
Yeah.
And she had advertised these nudes for $200. So there wound up being a ton of chargebacks on OnlyFans, and so OnlyFans put a cap on how much your subscriber fee can be. So it's $49.99 a month is the cap on the subscriber fee. Someone who has had their personal account, like if I had a non-creator account, I can only tip up to $100. And after 4 months of having an OnlyFans account, I can tip up to $200, but I'm limited to $500 a day.
Oh my God. Who
And
has that kind of money?
these were limits that they had to put in place because I mean it was the wild wild west. And so yeah, that's crazy. And so TikTok, or not TikTok, OnlyFans is not just for porn. I will say that it is primarily for porn, but you do have a lot of fitness people, life coaches, there's chefs, there's musicians that you can follow. There's just about anything you know that any other social media site has to follow. But of course it's mostly kept alive by its pornography industry.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, so seriously, who's watching a chef on OnlyFans?
Maybe it's naked. But you do have to be 18 to be to have an account. Even if it's just a viewing account, and it doesn't matter what you view. Like if you...
I wonder how they verify that, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been to sites where it's like, are you 18? And of course, anybody's going to be like, I sure am.
So I don't know how
All right, I'm going to embarrass myself and look up OnlyFans right now, so here we go. I'm typing.
I don't know how they moderate the people who don't have creator accounts, but for the creator accounts, you have to OnlyFans launched in 2016. As of 2019, they introduced a safeguard on the account for verification process. So creator now has to provide a selfie headshot with their ID in the image in order to prove that the ID belongs to the account holder. And there is also, I've heard some people who've had difficulty getting their OnlyFans creator account set up because you will have to have had your Cash App for so long.
You know OnlyFans creators?
I watch them on TikTok. There's a whole burgeoning industry on TikTok of
Okay, I'm on the website. I'm not going to click through any further, but basically you can create an account, but it says sign up to make money and interact with your fans. So I don't really see where... I mean, I'm sure that there's a way that you become a person who's just subscribing to other people, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So so the reason that they actually just started doing this in 2019, like I said, they've been around since 2016. And we were joking before the podcast that probably the last time I viewed porn was on Tumblr.
And I joked that I don't even remember that Tumblr was a thing. So
well, Tumblr took down all of their pornography because they were having trouble keeping child pornography off of their platform. And so rather than trying to keep up with that, they decided to just completely shut down the ability for any sort of nude images. And of course, that was pretty much the death of Tumblr. People still have accounts. There's a lot of artists and everything that are still on there. But in my opinion, it's kind of gone the way of MySpace. So OnlyFans is very, very diligent about making sure that their creators are over the age of 18. And they have things in their algorithms of how their content works that you can't even write the word meet or meeting in DM chats.
Really?
Because they do not want their platform used for prostitution. There's ways around that.
I'm sure there must be.
Yeah. So one of the content creators that I saw, she's like, if one of my fans wants to meet me for coffee and they DM me in my account, and of course the word meat can't be put in there, she tells them, just tweet me.
Hmm.
So find my Twitter and tweet me. So there's still some skirting around the issue, but the fact that you have to show an ID that says you are 18 years old, you have to take a picture with your ID showing you are 18 years old and submit it. And you also, there's some other hoops you have to jump through, like having, like your Cash App can't be new. Like you have had to have had your Cash App for like 4 months or something like that. They do there's a whole litmus test. So there was a bunch of frustrated creators who were ranting on TikTok about how many months it took them to jump through all of the hoops to get an OnlyFans creator account. And they're doing it for safety reasons, but they're also doing it for oh, where's the article? So, OnlyFans has said content protection is a top priority, and OnlyFans has dedicated an anti-piracy team that provides legal DMCA support to issue takedowns on behalf of creators. So recently, it was claimed that the site was hacked and a whole bunch of the private account data was uploaded to a Google Doc and another website. So I actually was curious about this myself. How do I not screenshot somebody and, put it out all over the internet? Well, apparently their pictures, their video, everything is watermarked, or maybe it's the metadata in the pictures, but it's a violation of our terms and services to copy, duplicate, or record user content, and the DMCA law protects creators and content being made to be published without proper permission. This procedure is inclusive of all required notices to move any infringement up to litigation if the target websites refuse to comply with the company, was said in a statement. OnlyFans also notifies the offending domain registrar and the host service as well as reporting to major search engines with the duty to help battle against illegal piracy of OnlyFans is firmly in the fight to protect our users and their content. Our takedown success rates have been over 75% across the offering, making image hosting sites, torrent providers, and cyber lockers, the statement continued. So with that 20% that they take, out of your take, they are protecting your content. And so the quote unquote hack that I read about actually sounded more like it was purchased content that people had sort of uploaded and saved to a Google Drive. And it sounded like it was multiple people that was uploading. So there was like tens of thousands of images. And there were some certain celebrities like Bella Thorne that were specifically targeted, where they purchased special content from them and basically shared it with the world, which violates, what they're not supposed to do. Even if you request special content and you pay for the pay-per-view and everything, it does not give you a right to then keep that image or disseminate that image. And OnlyFans really, really goes to bat for their creators. So that's why I got to say brava to them, for protecting their investments, basically. Because the people are the product, and for such a little amount, 20%, to be able to offer that kind of protection and to have a team behind you that are going to file all of the necessary legal charges to get any OnlyFans content that's reported out there off of the internet to keep it only on OnlyFans.
Doesn't it make you wonder that much more about the creator? I mean, he's got to have, I don't know. He's got to have more of an income. He's got to have more going on. Yeah, it just makes me wonder.
So I did stumble across a article that I since cannot find. That talked about how he's from the UK, and a lot of his current businesses, has been flagged because he had committed fraud with his old businesses. So there's a lot of speculation about him that kind of goes around on the internet.
But there's nothing substantial.
No, there's not. And, specifically, not without controversy, GOP Rep Paul Gosar, whose own family endorsed, let's try that again, whose own family endorsed his opponent, wants the DOJ to investigate OnlyFans for, quote, online prostitution. It's nonsense, writes adult star Sherry DeVille. So, Arizona Rep Paul Gosar paints himself as a free speech advocate, but he has never seen a sex worker he didn't want to censor. This week, Gosar and the GOP author of the Stop Censorship Act 2020 penned a letter begging the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, to shut down OnlyFans and investigate the porn platform for violating the Mann Act, known as, quote-unquote, the White Slave Law. The 1910 law forbids paying to transport women over state lines for prostitution. Gosar falsely believes that on this site, individuals can advertise their willingness to travel across state lines for illegal or immoral activities, and the platform is providing publicity for the individuals to appear to subsidize and capitalize off this travel. It is worth investigating further. So it goes on to talk about how children are being trafficked and there's child pornography on OnlyFans, yet nobody can cite any incidences at all.
All right. This is all making me tired.
However, you cannot say the same thing about Facebook or Instagram. The National Council for Missing and Exploited Children accuses Facebook and Instagram of reporting 20 million child sexual abuse images in 2020, more than any other company. So, if Gosar really cared, he would be targeting Facebook and Instagram right now, not OnlyFans.
And he would be targeting GOP Rep Matt Gaetz. Sorry, I had to bring that up. All right. Sorry, you got way in the weeds there, sister.
Did I?
Yeah, you kind of did.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, that was a lot of words.
I'm just saying, this is, why not have this site apart from your Instagram or your Facebook or your Twitter, and this is your adult content site? And that way you don't have to explain it to your children, because your children can't get on it. And even if they do, they have to pay $4.99 or $10.99 or $15.99, you know? So I don't see why the morality police have to spoil all the fun.
Because the morality police have to spoil all the fun.
Right?
I mean, you stop there. Just stop there.
Yeah.
So where I work, there are 2 hallways and there are 2 offices, and the morality police live on one side, and then me and my squad live on the other side.
And each one of you refers to the other as the wrong side of the tracks.
Completely. But me, Lisa, and Jill, we all know that we're going to hell together. And you're driving the bus, so...
So, I'm just putting this out there. If you wanted to make $8,000 a month, you'd have to charge $10 a month for your subscription, and you'd have to have 1,000 subscribers. That does not include tips. They make a lot of money off of the tips and the pay-per-views and the special requests. So just off of subscribers, having 1,000 subscribers, paying $10 a month, that's $10,000, and you keep 80% of that. That's $8,000 a month.
Good Lord, when are we starting our OnlyFans channel?
That's why I sent you the TikTok I did before we started this. Looked like she was like some sort of nurse. She was in scrubs, and she was a gorgeous girl, and she's like, I am not in the right mindset. She's like, every time I have a bad day, I'm like, you know, I could be selling pictures of my butthole on the internet for money. And it's just not a good mindset to have.
Really? Honestly, the next time somebody tells me to shut up and draw his labs, I'm going to be like, 1,000 subscribers on OnlyFans for $10 per subscription.
And you do not have to do nudity.
Right? No, I would probably get paid not to do nudity.
Okay, and here's the other thing. And I have seen this before. One of the girls that I follow on TikTok, she sells her used underwear.
Which is a little squicky to me, and I'm not trying to kink shame, but that's definitely not my jam.
So there's a huge industry for, there's actually vending machines.
I'm actually pretty sure that chick Sylvia was selling her used lingerie. Yeah.
Yes.
Because she had like all these bags with all of these different pieces of lingerie, and she's like, yep, sold that. Yep, sold.
Yes, and the men and women who are involved in the sale of used undergarments, they can sometimes develop a sort of a niche, or they can do special requests. I watched another documentary. I watch weird documentaries.
No.
Where, I mean,
say it's not so.
Some of the requests are very specific about, I want you to wear the underwear at a certain time in your cycle. You know, or I want you to sleep in a t-shirt for 3 days, or you know, I want you to wear it after you've had sex. Like, there's all colors of kink out there when it comes to used panties and lingerie and clothing. And I just think that's an amazing extra side hustle. Is you buy cute lingerie, you take your OnlyFans photos in them, and then you go sell that lingerie and go buy new lingerie. There are no losers in this scenario.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I mean, half of the world is in the market for nudes, and the other half of the world is trying to sell their nudes.
And their lingerie.
And we all need need to stop being so squeamish about it.
I do want to talk, and this is not body shaming, but it was kind of a bummer to me. And I think, I don't know, it's probably my own body image stuff, but I was a little bummed out that Kirsten, however she says her name, I was a little bummed out that she got giant boobs.
I kind of was too, but speaking as somebody who, if I had ever had the opportunity, I would have taken it.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I definitely have body image stuff going on, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe I've taken care of enough women who've had boob jobs who woke up and said, oh, I didn't know it was going to hurt this bad.
And that's what Kristen said. My biggest thing on it is the maintenance. Like, you don't just get them put in and you're good for life. Like,
well, I think the technology's gotten better.
It's gotten better. I do follow a TikTok channel.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
A plastic surgeon who specializes in not just botched breast augmentation, but like if somebody has an implant go bad. So that whole thing kind of scares me. I had always wanted like the fat transfer done, They take fat out of it someplace in your body, they put it in this like centrifuge, and like they take out the fluid, and then they inject just these.
I knew a nurse who had a devastating outcome from a plastic surgery done by a surgeon who should not have been doing plastic surgeries. He was an ear, nose, and throat surgeon who went to a couple of weekend seminars on plastic surgeries. She had a devastating outcome. So I just worry.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there are definitely people who have beautiful outcomes who look amazing. There's definitely a place for it for people who are having reconstructive surgery. And again, I'm not trying to body shame. I just worry. Like, I have a friend recently who had lip fills done, and she looks like a duck. And she posted all these pictures on Facebook, and she's like, I love it. I look so amazing. I'll never not have lip fills again. And I'm like, you look like a duck.
Yeah, I feel like at some point we get such a body dysmorphic disorder that it's kind of like when you put perfume on and then 3 minutes later you can't smell it on yourself, so you put more perfume on, and that vicious cycle keeps going, and everyone else around you is dying.
I'm going to tell you the most ridiculous thing that I have done in the last 6 months was the eyelash extensions. Ridiculous. My eyes were irritated. They look weird when you start to lose them. Now, because I soaked them off with olive oil, my lashes are sparse and sad, and now I'm paying for lash serum to make my lashes not sparse and sad. I've done dumb stuff to my body.
Yeah, nothing surgically dumb.
Thank goodness, because I regret it. I'm like, I actually just want my new fella to look in my eyes and see my eyes.
So, and I have looked into getting Botox for headaches.
Which is completely different than getting Botox for cosmetic reasons. Again, not being judgy and weird about people who choose to do that. It's just not a thing for me.
Yeah.
And I'll never, ever, ever do weird crap to my eyelashes ever again. All right.
Yeah, I had mixed feelings around her getting a boob job.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that she needed it for the industry and not so much that she wanted it for herself.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that the results were beautiful. I thought she was getting double D's or D's or double D's.
D's.
And I was just like, oh, like maybe some small C or some large.
Because she was not a very big girl.
But they turned out wonderful on her. Like they seemed to be very in proportion.
I think the thing that bothered me, and I think it was the surgeon who made the comment, Look at her before she arises and her new life begins. And I was like, you know what? So she's getting boobs. That's not a transformation of her life.
Did you notice that he was also filming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
And I'm sure
and
he
there
had
are,
permission. I mean, patients do sign
yes,
permission for their surgeons to film and take photos, and that's very common in plastic surgeries because they want to be able to show future patients, look at this great boob job or this great nose job that I did.
right. And that's actually a section of OnlyFans
Oh, of course it
is
is.
plastic surgery.
Of course it is.
Yep. You can subscribe to a plastic surgeon and watch all of their surgeries.
Yuck. That's not sexual. I'm sorry. I've seen someone get implants done. They take a thing that looks like a shoehorn and they ram it into an incision under the breast to make a
Yep.
pocket, and
Yep.
then they shove the implant in. That is not sexy.
It's
Okay, now I'm being a
still
little judgy.
it still looks much less painful than nose jobs.
Yeah, nose jobs, you know what those make me think of? Because I've seen those too.
Uh,
I've spent plenty of time in the OR. I think of Egyptian priests like chiseling out the nose so they
yes.
can get to the brain and scrape the brain out.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
It is literally a hammer and chisel.
it is.
I imagined it
It
was
is.
something far more gentle. No, it's
No,
a
no,
hammer and
no.
chisel.
Yes, it is.
Ugh. No
All right,
thanks.
we've got way off in the weeds again, and we have been podcasting for an hour and a half, and I'm cutting us off unless you've got something else to say. Because
No,
I'm tired and I'm running a total sleep deficit.
yeah. Yeah. I don't have anything other to say other than there really, really is. I think I will actually probably start an OnlyFans account to follow some people
Oh my god.
because I I was interested in Donnell Rawlings, who
Uh-huh.
was
Yeah,
the
he was pretty
comedian.
funny, the black comedian who was talking,
Yeah,
who basically
yeah.
was like, all y'all who are hating on Bella Thorne, shut the fuck up.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I wanted to get back to that. So, yes, Bella Thorne swooped in, and you could say that she was a tourist, that she was gentrifying the app. But how many people had not heard of the app until Bella Thorne earned $1 million in 24 hours? And I think it drove people to the site.
Excuse me.
So,
I
you
think
know,
there's some real truth to that, and that comedian did make that point. He's like, she's just
everyone
bringing
can
more eyes to you.
Yep. Yep. Come for the celebrity, stay for the other content.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah. I don't think that I don't think that celebrities being on OnlyFans is something I mean, like Cardi B said, she's not going to show you her tits. She's not going to show you her asshole. She's not going to show you her pussy. Um,
Sorry, Rob.
what you're going to get is, just a behind the scenes look at some of the cool stuff in her life. And you know what? If you want to pay $5 a month to see that, I've spent $5 on dumber stuff than that, but I do kind of honestly am like, it's a little weird that you have like these millionaires who are charging on OnlyFans. But okay. I love Wendy Williams, who is like, why are y'all tipping Chris Brown? So that's about all that I had.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I have anything else. I'm glad that I watched this. I'm probably not going to create an OnlyFans page. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, no. God, I still can't figure out where I'm going to find the time to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't have time to watch OnlyFans.
That's funny.
That was a big sigh. We've run out of steam for the night.
We have run out of steam for the night.
We don't know what we're podcasting next week, do we? It's my turn, and I still need to coordinate with Nick and Tyler about American History X.
Yeah.
which is probably not going to happen soon. But we're definitely going to do that.
I gotta rewatch the White Power documentary I just watched on HBO then.
Cool.
It had a lot of super interesting things. It had the son of the man who wrote the Turner Diaries.
Interesting.
The Turner Diaries were the basically the white man needs to prepare for the race war. Timothy McVeigh had a copy on him at all times, and he usually had several copies that he could hand out. Yeah. So the man who wrote the Turner Diaries, his son turned out completely different from him, I'm happy to say. So it was a good documentary.
Good. Yet another documentary that I probably won't watch.
Yeah. It just tied in so well with American History X that I will be able to drone on for hours.
Okay, but not so far into the weeds.
No, not so far into the weeds. Because you find weirdos there.
You do.
And you girls, you need to watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.
Take your pride.